The Americans have summited the mountaintop. They came, they saw, they conquered, besting the home team France in the gold medal game. The French, who are obviously dejected, should hold their heads high, as a silver medal is still an incredible accomplishment, especially when you're up against such an unstoppable adversary. Coming second to the Goliath that is the USA men's Olympic basketball roster is a feat worth celebrating. Players on Team Serbia and South Sudan decades from now can boastfully recount their battles against this legendary squad and how they nearly defeated them. For a 12-man roster to claim talent so bountiful, it's pure gluttony. As for the French, they deserve praise for developing an exceptional lineup which has transformed them into a true force in basketball at the world stage. And commanding the action is the prodigy to surpass all other prodigies, Victor Wembanyama. He's averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, nearly 4 blocks and steals per game, on 41% from the field and 31% from the three-point line across the entire tournament. His bad field goal percentage is pardoned since he's asked to do everything for Team France. The French have relied on their steel anchor to fortify this team, and he made us accustomed to his excellence in situations where he should be a novice, because what he's done on the defensive end as a first-timer is tremendous. Victor Wembanyama is the real deal, and the man will raise his chalice sooner than we think, and he'll pour till his cup overflows. The alien's coming for the title of the best in the world. Against the greatest Olympic team the United States has ever assembled, Wembanyama did not falter, but instead shined, rallying his team to stay in the fight the whole way through. Saving his best for last, the 20-year-old gave Team USA everything he had. Meanwhile, the man who's been the captain of the French for so long sat on the pine for the entirety of the second half. If we ignore seniority, Victor Wembanyama is the best defender on the planet, and it's absurd to state otherwise. 6 games in Paris, playing around 30 minutes, he's getting nearly 4 blocks and steals a game, and the supposed DPOY is getting DNPs in a championship game. His younger counterpart has surpassed him on every front, statistical or intangible. For Gobert's sake, this video has nothing to do with them because there's plenty to talk about. Even advanced metrics confirm Wemby is the better. If Victor Wembanyama is superior to the reigning Defensive Player of the Year based on box scores and the analytics, then he is the best defender on the planet. And the guy is only 20 years old. The masses are aware that Victor Wembanyama is transcended at 20 years old because the media talked him up like he's the best thing since sliced bread. And in a way he is. Considering how fantastic he's been, he's arguably the greatest prospect in NBA history, his only competition being the one and only LeBron James. And his tremendous prowess on the defensive end right from the jump makes him comparable to his San Antonio predecessor, Tim Duncan. He's the newest addition to the list of all the greatest big men prospects, from Shaquille O'Neal to Patrick Ewing to Ralph Sampson to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wembanyama was a cyclone from the starting line. It took the Frenchman 4 games to adjust to the NBA, and then he proceeded to drop a 38-point triple-double on Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. This glorious victory versus the Suns was followed by a riptide of reality as the San Antonio Spurs proceeded to go on an 18-game losing streak, and they finished the 2024 season in the basement of the Western Conference. But Wembanyama was still redefining the limits a rookie could surpass during this losing season. He'd record his first 2020 game with 21 points and 20 rebounds versus the Chicago Bulls, which was his 20th game in the league coincidentally. On the 10th of January, to begin the new year, Vic became the youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double with a spotless turnover log, getting 10 dimes with ease like he's baby Jokic. I mean, what can't the guy do? Well, it's more fun to list what he can do because that requirement qualifies practically anything you can think of on a basketball court. Only 44 players in NBA history have recorded 10 plus blocks in a single game, and Victor Wembanyama is the second youngest player to be featured on that list. What is even crazier is that while I was researching this, I found out Hassan Whiteside has recorded 10 plus blocks 5 times, which for reference is more than Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and Ben Wallace combined, 3 of the greatest rim protectors of all time, all eclipsed by a guy who's most known for his dim-wittedness. So Wemby has 4 more to go before he can catch the Miami legend, and by the looks of things, he'll shatter every defensive statistic and metric he can get his monstrous claws on. He is prospectively building his case as the greatest defender we've ever seen. If the San Antonio Spurs weren't so garbage, Wembanyama would have been the Defensive Player of the Year. The separation between him and every other defender on the planet is vividly apparent, but Wemby needs to perform on the other side of the ball if he wants to win the big one, because the voting criteria is very stingy in regards to defenders. Just ask Giannis Antetokounmpo. Fortunately, the man is well equipped on the offensive front. 21, 11, and 4, and his superb defensive stats make his rookie campaign a march for glory. Before we even delve deeper, because Wembanyama's per 36 numbers paint an all-NBA player. I mean, we're looking at 26 a night with damn near 6 blocks plus steals and 13 boards with 5 assists on the side. Every night, that's what Wembanyama would have averaged if he played 6 more minutes each game last season. Just dwell on that. He gapped the league in blocks win probability added, which simply means his ability to block the ball increased his team's chance of winning by 4.5%. And we're talking about the Spurs. They need any win they can get. There was a 10-day stretch where he'd average almost 30 a night towards the end of the year. The longer the season progressed, it seemed, the more comfortable he grew with the league. For most rookies, their end of the year marks demonstrate their true capabilities, and for Wembanyama that was no exception. If his hyper progression still isn't staggering, think about this. His first 10 appearances in the NBA, he averaged 20 points on 45% from the field, which is a promising number from the outset. So to close out the year, we'd expect something in that 19 to 22 ballpark. Take these other notable rookie campaigns for example. Across the board, all 3 men decelerated as they approached the closing point of their respective seasons. Their point margins from the first 10 to last 10 stayed relatively similar, with noticeable dips in efficiency. Wembanyama, on the other hand, you see where I'm going with this, in half a year went from 20 points on 45% shooting to 26 points on 47% shooting. He morphed from a skillful scorer to a brilliant one in a little over 6 months and some spare change. Wemby makes the case for himself once you sit down and look at the hard numbers. No dramatization needed. With a year of NBA basketball and the Olympics under his belt, the day of reckoning is fastly approaching for the league, and the day may be sooner than we think. Next season, he will most likely be voted an All-Star. That's practically a shoo-in. Considering he came second in Defensive Player of the Year voting while playing for one of the worst teams in the league, if San Antonio can manage to at least make the play-in team, Wembanyama will be crowned the Defensive Player of the Year. Aside from Jokic and Embiid, there isn't a center in the NBA who's better than Wembanyama, so he will probably make the All-NBA team. An All-NBA caliber player with the Defensive Player trophy, that could certainly put somebody in the conversation for the most valuable player. Every award he desires is dependent on his team's success, because if the San Antonio Spurs become anything above the 7th seed, he will win every award. But at this point, the Spurs are years away from that reality. However, he is the kind of talent akin to LeBron James or Kevin Durant or Luka Doncic, where he can single-handedly raise the ceiling for his team and carry them to salvation. The fact that we're even considering him for MVP next season, even though he's still a rookie, shows you the level of talent this man is. The Otherworlder is coming to conquer, and the rest of the league has short time to prepare an assault against him, because Victor Wembanyama's reign is ominously looming, and it will be pure annihilation once it's fully primed. Thanks for watching.